Well, good morning. All members will please come to the floor. All members, please come to the floor. The hour for convening having arrived. All members will please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machines? Doorkeepers, please close the doors and keep them closed. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer. by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 151st House District, Representing Mike Chokas. Representative Chokas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, for our talk earlier this morning and a prayer for the people that needed some support from our house. In particular, Terry England, Patty Stinson, and Mr. Green. But I enjoyed that. But today it is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to introduce my priest, Father Theodore. He's the church that we attend, the parish we attend is Holy Cross Greek Orthodox Church in Macon. And give you a little bit about Father Theodore. He's patient. He's got me as part of the congregation, so he has to be very, very patient. But he started off in the weather industry and worked with the Federal Aviation Administration in Denver and in Atlanta Hartsfield, giving updates and METARs to our pilots. And then that led him to the priesthood in a roundabout course after he met his lovely wife, Stacy. He did his seminary work in Boston and at the Holy Cross Greek Orthodox School of Theology, and then was ordained in 2015. Spent some time in Charlotte for about 3 years, and then came down here in 2018 at the Holy Cross Greek Orthodox Church in Macon. I mentioned earlier his wife Stacy, but he also has two sons, Joachim and Basil. Joachim is 6 and Basil is 4, so he has a handful at his house. I would like to welcome Father Theodore to our community here at this house. Thank you. Yeah, you go and try.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Good morning, everybody. Or as we say in Greek, kalimera. We say, I'm chocolate. It's a joy to return here to the State House to be the pastor of the day, and I thank the honorable speaker for the opportunity. It's been an honor to serve in this capacity a few times in the past, and in the past it has revolved around the date of March 25th. Now, this date is significant for Greek Orthodox Christians for a twofold reason. Not only is this 9 months before Christmas, an announcement that the Virgin Mary would give birth to the Savior, but also the day that the people of Greece announced their independence from the oppression of the Ottoman Empire in 1821. Independence, which, by the way, was very much inspired by the democratic ideals of our own American Revolution, and also, of course, ancient Greece as well. Although it's not March 25th, this is also a significant moment in the calendar year. For both Orthodox Christians and many Christians of other Christian traditions, we're about to begin the period of Lent. Now, if you're not familiar with Lent, this is a 40-day period which culminates on the day of Easter, or as we say in our Orthodox Christian tradition, Pascha, the day on which we commemorate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now, different Christian traditions have different approaches to Lent. You might hear of somebody saying something about, giving up something for Lent, like I'm going to give up chocolate, or I'm going to give up TV, or, things like that. Now, in our Orthodox Christian Lenten tradition, we certainly give up something as we, as one Christian body, all together fast rather vigorously. However, the intent is not necessarily on giving up something, but the ascetic practice of making space for things that are good and fruitful. Now, this concept of 40 days shouldn't be unfamiliar to you all, as I suppose, as I understand that the legislative session lasts for 40 days. Is that correct? I'm sure it sometimes feels like a marathon, and that there might not be time necessarily for extra things in the midst of that. However, I would encourage you in the midst of this session to do something which might seem perhaps a little bit paradoxical by adding something to your plates. Now, maybe you do this already, and if you do, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And if not, please accept my humble encouragement. I mentioned the concept of asceticism a moment ago. The word asceticism in English comes from the Greek word askesis, meaning to train or to exercise. In the midst of your legislative session, I'm sure that it's vitally important to be training or exercising your hearts and minds to discern what is best for you and for your constituents. This isn't just a theoretical exercise, but something tangible. I would encourage you to spend 5 or 10 minutes each day as an ascetic practice, engaging with something that will sharpen that discernment. For people of the Christian faith like myself, this certainly means spending time with Holy Scripture, with the Bible. For example, reading, praying a few of the Psalms each day can be a wonderful and sharpening practice. For others, it might mean a different holy text, a meaningful book, or even something like poetry. It's a necessity that we spend this sacred time reading, dwelling upon the words of truth, and sharpening our discernment, whether it be in the midst of the legislative process, or it be in the midst of all the realities of day-to-day life. Just as we need to exercise our bodies for physical health, which I definitely need to do that, we need the ascetic exercise of dwelling upon truth, day to day for mental and spiritual health. I pray that you all have a good continuation of your legislative session, and for those brothers and sisters in Christ who are about to embark on the journey of Great Lent, I wish you, as we say in Greek, Kali Sarakosti, a good 40 days. At this time, let us join together in prayer if you would stand. Let us pray to the Lord. Lord, have mercy. Eternal God and Father, ruler of the entire universe, enthroned omnipresently in the minds and hearts of your faithful servants everywhere, we recognize your presence among us and entreat you to remain in our midst as we come together this day. We offer our heartfelt prayers for these legislators of the Georgia House of Representatives and ask you, our benevolent and all-knowing Master, to guide these men and women according to your will, bestowing your ineffable wisdom upon them and showing them to be loyal and productive workers of good, upholding and promoting all the virtues of a moral and ethical life in God. Inspire them to be merciful and just, to be lovers of virtue, and to improve the lives of the people of this beautiful state of Georgia. We pray to you to watch over them and us, strengthening us all, both in times of hardship and joy, making us worthy to witness the light of your countenance and live by the truth that is you, for you are most holy and blessed, along with your co-eternal Son, Jesus Christ, and your all-holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Thank you.
Very much.
Members, if you will remain standing just for a moment before I thank Father Theodore for his message. Doorkeepers, you can keep the doors closed for just a moment. We lost a member of this house family last night, one of our doorkeepers, Mr. Shepard Green, who worked up in the gallery, and we appreciate his service to the house. He had been ill for a little while, and he passed in his sleep last night. But our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and certainly very grateful for his service to this house and to this state, and just very thankful for him as an individual. And let's have a moment of silence for Mr. Green and his family and wish them and give them and extend our condolences to them. Amen. Thank you, members. Thank you, Father Theodore. We appreciate that message. Appreciate you being with us again. Doorkeepers, you may open the doors. Members, you may join Father Theodore in the South Ante room and have a photo and greet him and thank him for his service. Members, our doctor of the day is brought to us by Representative Sharon Cooper. Dr. Brett Cannon is downstairs in the aid room. If you need Dr. Cannon, certainly call him. We appreciate him being here. Chairman Hilton is recognized as chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal of the previous legislative day and found it to be correct.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Hilton, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, report that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Hearing none, the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Mr. Clerk.
Representative Station of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period unanimous consent. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, reports of standing committees, first reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions, morning orders.
Supplemental. Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Hearing none, the resolution is adopted. First reading the bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 566 by Representative Hong of the 103rd, Jones of the 25th, Carpenter of the 4th, Fry of the 122nd, Gunner of the 8th, and others. Will be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 10 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to selling and other trade practices.
Creative Arts and Entertainment.
House Bill 567 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, Hatchett of the 155th, Hawkins of the 27th, Buckner of the 137th, Taylor of the 173rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 11, Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to licenses for the practice of dentistry.
Health.
House Bill 568 by Representative Scoggins, the 14th, and Gamble, the 15th. Bill be titled an act to authorize the governing authority of the city of Uharri to levy an excise tax pursuant to subsection B of Code Section 48-1351.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 569 by Representative Howard of the 71st and Werkheiser of the 157th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 34 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to employment security.
Industry and Labor.
House Bill 570 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Burchett of the 176th, Ridley the 6th, and Rhodes of the 124th. Bill be titled an act to amend Titles 36 and 50 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to local government and state government.
Natural Resources and Environment.
House Bill 571 by Representative Hawkins, the 27th, Jaspers, the 11th, Dempsey, the 13th, Jackson, the 128th, and Silcox, the 53rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 34, Title 43, the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to physicians, assistants, and others.
Health.
House Bill 572 by Representative Persinger, the 119th, Gaines, the 120th, Estration, the 104th. Bill be titled an act to amend and act to provide a new charter for the town of Brazelton.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 573 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Saints, the 180th, and Hawkins, the 27th. The bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 21A of Title 33, the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to Medicaid care management organizations.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 574 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Townsend, the 179th, Hitchens, the 161st, Petrie, the 166th, Gilliard, the 162nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 3492 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to applicability of workers' compensation.
Industry and Labor.
House Bill 575 by Representative McCollum, the 30th, Jaspers, the 11th, Powell, the 33rd, McDonald, the 3rd of the 26th, and Hagan of the 156th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to highways, bridges, and ferries.
Transportation.
House Bill 577 by Representative Gaines, the 120th, Ridley, the 6th, Dempsey, the 13th, Stevens, the 164th, Williams, the 168th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
Bill 578 by Representative Chokas, the 151st, Green, and the 154th, Cannon, the 172nd, Smith, the 18th, Mathis, the 133rd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 46 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to emergency telephone number 911.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Bill 579 by Representative Reeves in the 99th, Hatchett of the 155th, Weedower of the 121st, Prince of the 132nd, Fleming of the 114th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to professions and businesses.
Appropriations.
House Bill 580 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Jackson the 68th, Drenner the 85th, Glaze the 67th, Lallier the 59th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 6, Chapter 2, Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to competencies in core curriculum.
Education.
House Bill 581 by Representative Hagan of the 156th, Weedower 121st, Cannon the 172nd, Neal the 79th, Smith of the 18th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 3 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to alcoholic beverages.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 582 by Representative Gunner of the 8th, Reeves in the 99th, New of the 40th, Hong of the 103rd, Smith of the 18th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Titles 16, 17, and 24 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to crimes and offenses.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 583 by Representative Glaze, the 67th, Hitchens, the 161st, Bonner, the 73rd, Cannon, and the 172nd, Newton, and the 27th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 4285.1 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to license plates for certain veterans.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 584 by Representative Petrie, the 166th, Dempsey, the 13th, Taylor, the 173rd, Stevens, the 164th, LaHuda, the 175th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Titles 26, 31, and 37 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to food, drugs, and cosmetics.
Public and Community Health.
House Bill 585 by Representative Jones, the 47th, Jones, the 25th, Martin, the 49th, Thomas, the 21st, and Gaines, the 120th. Bill be titled an act to amend Titles 33 and 40 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to insurance and motor vehicles and traffic.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 586 by Representative Williamson of the 112th, Blackman of the 146th, Williams of the 148th, Hatchett of the 155th, Abstration of the 104th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 6 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to intangible recording tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 587 by Representative Gamble, the 15th, and Scoggins, the 14th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act to reincorporate the city of Cartersville in the County of Bartow.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 588 by Representative Drenner, the 85th canon and the 58th, Iowa, the 50th Park of the 107th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding insurance.
Health.
House Bill 589 by Representative Drenner, the 85th canon and the 58th, Iowa, the 50th Park of the 107th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to medical assistance generally.
Public and community health.
House Bill 590 by Representative Ford of the 170th, Burchett of the 176th, Corbett of the 174th, McDonald of the 3rd and 26th, Wiedauer of the 121st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to professions and businesses.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 591 by Representative Gunner of the 8th and Wade of the 9th. A bill being titled an act to authorize the municipal court of the city of Cleveland to charge a technology fee.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 592 by Representative Gunner of the 8th and Wade of the 9th. The bill be titled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Cleveland.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Resolution 347 by Representative Cox of the 29th, Jaspers of the 11th, Glaze of the 67th, Douglas of the 78th, Cannon of the 172nd, and others. A resolution urging all Georgia high schools to establish flag football programs.
Special rules.
Senate Bill 10 by Senator Goodman, the 8th, Strickland of the 42nd, Watson the 11th, Summers the 13th, Kennedy the 18th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 15.6.2 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the number of judges of superior courts.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 12 by Senator Ginn of the 47th, Robertson the 29th, Summers the 13th, Dixon the 45th, Still of the 48th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 18, Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to inspection of public records.
Governmental affairs.
Senate Bill 68 by Senator Kennedy, the 18th, Gooch the 51st, Robertson the 29th, Anna DeVarte to the 31st, Walker the 20th, and others. The bill be titled Act to amend Titles 9, 13, 40, and 51 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to civil practice contracts and motor vehicles.
Rules.
Senate Bill 161 by Senator Hufstadler to the 52nd and Payne to the 54th. Bill be titled an act to provide a homestead exemption from Gordon County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
That completes first readers. Yes, ma'am.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 538 by Representative.
Continue.
House Bill 538 by Representative Chokas of the 151st, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Schley County. House Bill 539 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Abstraction of the 104th, Clark of the 108th, Adina of the 110th, Okoye of the 102nd, and others. A bill to amend an act to provide a homestead exemption of $4,000 from all school district ad valorem taxation except levies to retire bonded indebtedness, which applies to the homestead of each resident of Gwinnett County School District. House Bill 540 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Martinez of the 111th, Abstraction of the 104th, Clark of the 108th, Adina of the 110th, and others. A bill to amend an act to provide an additional homestead exemption from Gwinnett County School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 541 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Cooper of the 45th, Taylor of the 173rd, Prince of the 132nd, Hawkins of the 27th. A bill relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities. House Bill 542 by Representative Berry of the 56th, Griffin of the 149th, Carter of the 93rd, Ramon of the 97th, Clark of the 108th. A bill relating to promised scholarship accounts. House Bill 543 by Representative Berry of the 56th, McQueen of the 61st, Bell of the 75th, Dawson of the 65th, Herring of the 145th. A bill relating to general provisions relative to education. House Bill 544 by Representative Berry of the 56th, Miller of the 62nd, Park of the 107th, Hughley of the 141st, Fry of the 122nd, and others. A bill relating to student directory information, registering to vote with the Selective Service, and Pledge of Allegiance. House Bill 545 by Representative Jones of the 60th. A bill relating to procedure for preparation and filing of transcripts of evidence or in proceedings where appellant appellant designates matter to be omitted from the record and appeal and extensions of time for completion of transcript. House Bill 546 by Representative Cahan of the 81st, Byrd of the 20th, Donahue of the 31st, Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, and others. A bill relating to miscellaneous provisions under the Quality Basic Education Act. House Bill 547 by Representative Cannon of the 172nd, Dickey of the 134th, Corbett of the 174th, Meeks of the 178th, Huddleston of the 72nd, and others. A bill relating to preferential assessment for bona fide conservation use property and bona fide residential transitional property. House Bill 548 by Representative Green of the 154th, Yarta of the 152nd, Chokas of the 151st, Sampson of the 153rd. A bill to amend an act creating the Albany-Doherty County Inter-City Authority. House Bill 549 by Representative Seabaugh of the 34th, McDonald of the 26th, McCollum of the 30th, Lumpson of the 12th, Hitchens of the 161st, and others. A bill relating to reimbursement of training expenses by subsequent employer of peace officer collection procedure required documentation. House Bill 550 by Representative Bell of the 75th, Sains of the 180th, Townsend of the 179th, Wilkerson of the 38th, Stenson of the 150th. A bill relating to requirements for participating schools, responsibilities of Education Saving Authority, prohibited requirements, and agency not established. House Bill 551 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Corbett of the 174th, Jaspers of the 11th, Mathis of the 133rd, Jones of the 25th. A bill relating to motor vehicles and traffic. House Bill 552 by Representative Cahan of the 81st, Byrd of the 20th, and Tran of the 80th. A bill relating to definitions relative to the Juvenile Code. House Bill 553 by Representative Stinson of the 150th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Taylor County. House Bill 554 by Representative Townsend of the 179th, Jones of the 25th, Irwin of the 32nd, Ballard of the 147th, Glaze of the 67th, and others. A bill relating to the health of students. House Bill 555 by Representative McCollum of the 30th, Montahan of the 17th, Gullett of the 19th, Abstraction of the 104th, Fry of the 122nd, and others. A bill relating to regulation of specialized land transactions. House Bill 556 by Representative Cox of the 28th, Williams of the 148th, McDonald of the 26th, Gunter of the 8th, Powell of the 33rd. A bill relating to operation of watercraft identification and operation by minors. House Bill 557 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Cox of the 28th, Clark of the 100th, Donahue of the 31st, McCollum of the 30th, and others. A bill relating to the number of judges of superior courts. House Bill 558 by Representative Gaines of the 120th, Dempsey of the 13th, Newton of the 127th. A bill relating to vocational, technical, and adult education. House Bill 561 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, Stevens of the 164th, Sains of the 180th, Green of the 154th, Buckner of the 137th, and others. A bill relating to surface mining. House Bill 562 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, Stevens of the 164th, Sains of the 180th, Green of the 154th, Buckner of the 137th, and others. A bill relating to surface mining. House Bill 563 by Representative Bennett of the 94th, Powell of the 33rd, Corbett of the 174th, Hughley of the 141st, Jones of the 143rd, and others. A bill relating to prestige license plates and special license plates for certain persons and vehicles. House Bill 564 by Representative Barry of the 56th, Glaze of the 67th, Crawford of the 89th, Sanchez of the 117th, Sanchez of the 42nd. A bill relating to health of students. House Bill 565 by Representative Townsend of the 179th, Franklin of the 160th, Leverett of the 123rd, Camp of the 135th, Hilton of the 48th. A bill relating to income tax, imposition, rate, computation, exemptions, and credits. House Bill 576 by Representative Williams of the 168th, Smith of the 18th, Lumpson of the 12th, Jackson of the 128th, Hughley of the 141st. A bill relating to the Fair Business Practices Act of 1975, House Resolution 328 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, Scott of the 76th, and Flournoy of the 74th. A resolution recognizing Chief Jeffrey E. Turner and dedicating a road in his honor. Senate Bill 96 by Senator Eccles of the 49th, Hatchett of the 50th, Hustetler of the 52nd, Payne of the 54th, Robertson of the 29th, and others. A bill to amend various titles of the OCGA. Senate Bill 98 by Senator Cowsert of the 46th, Strickland of the 42nd, Gann of the 47th, Watson of the 1st, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd. A bill relating to Guardian and Ward. Senate Bill 102 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Payne of the 54th, Hustetler of the 52nd, Williams of the 25th, Alberts of the 56th, and others. A bill relating to gambling. Senate Bill 138 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Still of the 48th, Cowsert of the 46th, Setzler of the 37th, and Narvarte of the 31st. A bill relating to incorporation of municipal corporations. Senate Resolution 23 by Senator Cowsert of the 46th, Gooch of the 51st, Kennedy of the 18th, Alberts of the 56th, Beach of the 21st, and others. A resolution applying to the United States Congress to call a convention under Article 5 of the Constitution of the United States, limited to proposing an amendment to the Constitution to set a number of terms that a person may be elected to the United States House of Representatives, and to set a limit on the number of terms that a person may be elected as a member of the United States Senate. 3-second readers.
Reports of standing committees. Mr. Clerk, will you read?
Representative Carpenter of the 4th District, Chairman of the Committee on Creative Arts and Entertainment, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Creative Arts and Entertainment has had under its consideration the following bill of the House. It's instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendation. House Bill 475 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Carpenter of the 4th District, Chairman. Representative Chris Irwin of the 32nd District, Chairman of the Committee on Education, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Education has had under its consideration the following bill of the House. It's instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendation. House Bill 267 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Chris Irwin of the 32nd District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Members, I'll ask you to come back to your seats. House, come to order. We're ready for morning orders. Morning orders. Members will please take your seats. House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. While you're coming to your seats, we have a treat today. Up in the gallery is a lady who's done a marvelous job of bringing up a young man who's had a great career, played a little football, and is a distinguished member of this house. That's Miss Betty Cates. Miss Betty, stand up. That's the mother of Demetrius Douglas, Representative Douglas. Miss Betty Cates, good to have you in the house. You did a good job with him. He's a good man. He's a good man. Did you ever have to whip him when he was little? Yes, you did. Can you still do it? I may have to call on you from time to time to get you to do it again. Good to have you with us. We're going to recognize Representative Seabaugh and Leader F. Stration for our first morning order. Give the gentleman in the well your attention, please, and some other folks. Gentlemen, will suspend just for a moment. I want to make sure. Members, if you'll give the gentleman in the well your attention. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, we rise today with my colleagues from the East Coast to honor the memory of Ahmaud Arbery, a young man with a bright future whose life was tragically stolen from him on February 23rd, 2020. Ahmaud was out for a run in a neighborhood much like the ones that we live in today, a normal activity that should have never placed him in harm's way. What happened to him was a heartbreaking reminder of the work we must continue to do to confront hate and ensure justice. Today, we are privileged to have with us in the gallery members of the Ahmaud Arbery Foundation, along with a remarkable woman whose courage has illuminated a path forward in the wake of unimaginable loss, Miss Wanda Cooper Jones, Ahmaud's mother. Ms. Cooper Jones, your strength and resilience are extraordinary. You have turned grief into a movement for change, creating the Ahmaud Arbery Foundation to promote racial justice, foster youth empowerment, and build stronger and safer communities. Your work reminds us that even in the face of tragedy, hope can rise. You've transformed Ahmaud's legacy into a call to action, one that compels us to reflect, to grow, and to do better for those we serve. Ahmaud's story is not just his story. It is a story that echoes the hopes, fears, and struggles of so many. It is a call to all of us in this chamber to reaffirm our commitment to building a society where justice is not just a word, but a reality for every individual,
regardless of race, background, or circumstance. Colleagues, let us honor Ahmaud Arbery, not just with our words, but with our actions. May his memory inspire us to continue pushing for a world where every person can run freely, live boldly, and dream without fear. Ms. Cooper Jones, thank you for reminding us of what courage looks like, and today we stand with you and honor Ahmaud's life, his legacy, and the profound message in his story that he's left with us all. And Mr. Speaker, my good friend from Liberty County would like to say a few words.
Thank you. Few things in our lifetime will affect Georgia like the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. But most memorable is how you, his mother, picked up the mantle and made sure that this nation knew what happened. I was privileged in my first term in this House to represent the area that you all lived in. So we shall never forget, and this state showed a great amount of courage and character and integrity in signing the hate crime bill because of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, members.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, members. Ms. Jones, thank you for your courage and what the work you're doing. Thank you for that, and thank you for being here with us today. We most appreciate it. It's important, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you, members. Representative Jasmine Clark. Representative Clark is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today, I have the honor and privilege of welcoming to the People's House Help for Healthcare Professionals Incorporated. This nurse-led organization was started as a means to make sure that we had good mental health support and health equity initiatives for healthcare professionals, especially during the pandemic and beyond. Since its inception, Help for Healthcare Professionals has positively impacted over 22,000 healthcare professionals and first responders across 20 counties in this wonderful state. They have delivered essential support through programs such as Frontline Care and Recovery Care Program, the Crossroads Education Program, and the Youth Med Mentorship Program. Today in the gallery we have with us Ms. Shelly Ann McKenzie and others from Help for Healthcare Professionals. If you all could stand. Y'all here? Oh, there they are, over there. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your commitment to healthcare professionals. Thank you for all that you do. Please meet me downstairs in the anteroom for a picture. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thanks to all of our healthcare professionals. We appreciate what y'all do for us. Representative Oladiye, Representative Reese, and Representative Crawford. I think you guys have some guests in the gallery. If y'all would convene down front. Gentleman has the will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. It is my great privilege to recognize Mr. Richard B. Sagers of Atlanta, Georgia, and his extended family who are with us today up in the gallery. Mr. Sagers served our nation in the United States Army's 11th Airborne Division, but is best known for being the first black over-the-road truck driver, breaking through the racial barriers that once kept black drivers from long-haul trucking jobs. And he took this case all the way up to the Supreme Court and won. Today is especially significant because it marks the 32nd anniversary of Mr. Sager's passing. As we reflect on his life and legacy, we are honored to have with us or to recognize, believe his wife, Miss Betty Sager, is now 91 years strong. She cannot be with us for health reasons, but we wanted to give her a special shout out. And she stood by his side throughout his fight for justice. We also recognize his daughter, Veronica Peoples, and my good friend and his grandson, Keith Sagers, along with other grandchildren and great-grandchildren who carry on his remarkable legacy. So Sagers family, could you please stand and be recognized? We have a wonderful resolution commemorating and recognizing his achievements. Welcome to the People's House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you for being with us in the People's House. A great story. I'm glad to learn about it. Thanks for being here. Representative Horner and Representative Tarbin, y'all are recognized for a morning order. Give the gentleman in the well your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we welcome to the People's Chamber Ringgold High School Tiger Guard drill team. Please stand. Each representative has gyms in their district, and from mine comes this nationally recognized team with over 50 trophies and championships. Specifically, Commander Pearl, who has won an astounding 5 national titles. Today, I ask the House to rise in recognition of this team who has brought pride to Ringgold and to our great state. Thank you.
Absolutely. 5 national titles. That's impressive. Thank you all for making the trip down, and thanks for your dedication. Thanks for recognizing them. Good to have you all in the People's House. Representative Cummins. Here she comes. Representative Smith, you're on deck. Representative Terry Cummins is recognized for a morning order.
Any members of the Mableton delegation here or Cobb delegation?
Mableton or Cobb delegations join the lady in the well.
An honorary. I'd like to welcome this morning students from Pebblebrook High School. Will you please stand? And students from South Cobb High School, will you please stand if you're here? Also have Mayor Michael Owens, the mayor of Mableton, here in the house. And I'd like to welcome you all to the People's House. Speaker, I yield the well.
Thanks, Pebblebrook and South Cobb, for being here. Hope you have a good day at your state capitol, and you have some great members. Appreciate y'all taking time out of your busy schedules. Representative Vance Smith is recognized for a morning order. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Appreciate that. While I talk about him a few minutes, I'm going to ask a young man from Harris County, Joey Gibbs, if he would stand up. He's up here in the gallery. Ladies and gentlemen, Joey and students like him, they're the future of the state of Georgia. And I am tickled to death that he was able to come with his family today and be with us. He's been participating in Skills USA for the past 4 years. He's a senior. He knocks it out of the ballpark. I've seen it with my own eyes at the Trade Center in Columbus, Georgia. His plumbing skills are unbelievable. His dad and his mom's with him, and I'm going to ask his family to stand up too. But he's followed in his dad's footsteps and been plumbing since he was 14 years old. And he is the future. He's been offered a number of job offers just from these Skills USA programs, and he is an outstanding young man from Harris County, Georgia. So I'd like to ask you to recognize Joey today and thank him for what he does for our state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield well.
Let's see. Chairman Ron Stevens and some friends from Savannah. Let's see. Yeah, several friends from Savannah. From the delegation. You going to join them there? Yes, she is. There comes some more. Anyone else from the delegation? Mr. Chairman, hold it for 1 minute. Just pause for a minute.
I was looking for them because you know Kevin's on that board.
Yep. You've got all your support behind you now, I think, don't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, today we're honoring the Savannah Country Day School Target Team. Just 6 years ago in 2019, they were formed. Since that short time, this co-ed team is led by Coach Eric Haas and his amazing coaches, and let's not forget Janine, that really pulls things together. Has a track record of success. With the team in the middle school athletes, 6th and 8th grade, and the varsity teams 9th through the 12th, the team has some of the most accomplished shotgun shooters, not only in the state but in the country. Since its inception, the Savannah Country Day varsity team has produced a 2022 individual state champion, a 2-time individual female Georgia state champion, an individual Georgia state champion runner-up in 24, 2 varsity state championship titles in 2022 and recently in 24, and 2 high school national championship team runner-ups. 2 national championship team runner-ups. Ladies and gentlemen, at the 2024 Georgia State Championship, Savannah Country Day School competed against over 600 athletes, 49 high schools. This year, the team led by Captain Chase Berger, Dan Bradley, and Miles Carson had an amazing accomplishment for both the high school and the middle school state championships. 2 recognitions, if you will. If you're on that state championship team in 24, would you recognize these folks in the gallery from Savannah, Georgia? They're the best in the state. Stand up. Thank you. And if you were on the national championships, would you please stand up? There's 10 of you up there. Give these guys a hand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not just state, if I heard you correctly, but national champions. Congratulations. Savannah Country Day's got a proud heritage, and we appreciate y'all taking time to come join us. Congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing it right. No doubt about that. Congratulations again. Chairman Hitchens, you're recognized for a morning order. Give the gentleman the well your attention, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
And some friends from Milledgeville and the district.
Colleagues, today I'm honored to have a young group of students with us who attend Georgia Military College. Established October 14th, 1879 by the Georgia General Assembly. It's been in effect ever since. They have several different types of programs, but K through 12 students. They have a junior college in which 80% of the students are either first-generation students or have low income. And the third program is they have a prep school for the military academies. 95% of the people that graduate from their prep school go to West Point, the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, or the Coast Guard Academy. Let's welcome the group from Georgia Military College. I think they're over in the Senate, but they're very easily identifiable. If you see them out in the hallways, say hello to them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a great group here. We will excuse them for being in the Senate this morning, but we appreciate them being here, and we had a photo with them this morning. You have one more?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to also tell you how much we support Georgia Military College. I retired from the Army 34 years ago and immediately became a strong supporter of GMC. Matter of fact, I served on the board of trustees there because the mayor of Millersville is automatically on the board of trustees. And this morning, the students were here, cadets, along with the president at a reception downstairs. So thank you all for your support.
Members, we have a lot of traffic on the floor. Those of you who need to take the off ramp, go to the anteroom, please. We have an important recognition. So members, please take your seats. We have some very, very accomplished Georgians on the floor. So if you this South Ante room, either go out the door or come to your seats, whatever your pleasure is. But let's just do it right now. South Ante room door. We have a very accomplished Georgian who's involved in some of the most important work that I know of. And we're blessed to have him take up this mantle. He's doing a fabulous job of making sure our future and the future of our Georgians are bright. I'm going to invite Chairman Irwin, if you'll come up. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Resolution 180?
House Resolution 180 by Representative Irwin of the 32nd ballot of the 147th, Wade of the 9th, Barton of the 5th, Chokas of the 151st, and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Georgia Reed's coach, Malcolm Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, you're recognized to talk about a pretty special young man. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I'm proud to introduce someone to you that most of you, I believe, know. I'm sure that you are aware with House Bill 538, the movement that we have been doing in this state to increase the literacy rate of our young people and making a difference to help them to achieve their dreams in life. We know the importance of the foundation of reading and the difference it'll make in your life. And yes, sir, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. Some of the most important things we do this session will be continuing to help our students learn to read. We have this gentleman with us that's not only a Super Bowl champion, but a fellow University of Georgia graduate with me that I am very proud of his efforts within this entire country for changing the literacy rates of young people. And then, if I've seen the numbers correctly, 17 countries that the Share the Magic Foundation that Malcolm Mitchell has begun has changed lives of these children. So without any needed introduction, y'all please help me welcome Malcolm Mitchell here to our chamber.
Good city, man. Thank you for being here, Saturday, That's appropriate. There are so many people that I need to thank.
because all of you have been tremendously supportive. So if I leave you out, I do apologize. But I do just want to read off a few names because it is important to me to make sure that I recognize those who have been extremely supportive. So I'll start with Speaker Burns, thank you. Mrs. Dale Burns, thank you. Okay. Chairman Chris Irwin, thank you. Representative Bethany Ballard, thank you. And standing right beside you is a friend, one of the few people who love New England that lives in Georgia, Representative Carmen Rice. Thank you all. And thank you to all of you who have shown your support. As you have learned, my name is Malcolm Mitchell. I was born and raised in Valdosta, Georgia, and I grew up under the premise that football was the most important thing in the world. But I have learned through my experience and statistical evidence that reading is the most self-empowering tool a person could possess. And that's why we set out to make sure that our communities are strong readers, so they will grow up and be strong leaders and productive members in this amazing society that we're working to create. Now, the latest 2024 NAEP scores show that only 30% of our third graders are reading at or above proficiency levels, which means 70% are not reading at proficiency levels, which means we still have a lot of work to do, but I know we can accomplish that together. I'm very thankful that the Georgia Council on Literacy and Chairman Scott Johnson, where are you? There you go, were willing to allow me to be the Georgia Reads coach, which means I get an opportunity to go out into our communities and hopefully motivate, inspire, and encourage the new generation of readers. I hope that all of you will join me tomorrow on February 25th at noon for Georgia Reads Day. We had over 130,000 students across Georgia participate in a program to motivate them to read, and we'll be awarding the top readers tomorrow from Waynesboro, Albany, Kingsland, and Chattahoochee County. We will also be recognizing the community award winners for the Georgia Reads Awards. If you are free, I think you will be very inspired by seeing the children loving and engaging in something that's meaningful. Thank you for your time this morning. I will leave you with this. Let's not get tired of doing good. To all of the partners, to all the supporters, we appreciate you. Let's all keep reading. Thank you.
Malcolm, Mr. Mitchell, you know, we all have opportunities in life, and you've had some great opportunities, and you've made a difference, and your athletic career made a difference. But what you're doing for reading and for literacy is changing Georgia, changing our country, and as I just heard, is going to change the world as well. Thank you for empowering our youth and what you're doing. This house stands behind you, not only as a body, but in our communities. So call on us. We're there for you, and we want to be a partner. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Members, members, Malcolm says he has a few minutes. If you'll join him in the South Ante room and thank him for what his efforts, and also you may have a photo with him. We'll let you do that as well. I'm not sure what he'll charge you, but because he is in the fundraising mode, doing good work. So if you want to join Malcolm in the South Ante room, that'd be appropriate. We're ready to move on to the rules calendar. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 287?
House Bill 287 by Representative Rhodes, the 124th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 12.2 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to the Environmental Protection Division, Environmental Advisory Council, duties of the Council and its members and director. This bill has been referred to the Committee of Game, Fish, and Parks. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
The gentleman who serves as the chairman of Game, Fish, and Parks, Chairman Rhodes, is recognized to present House Bill 287.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we have before us House Bill 287. This is our agency bill, and it does four things. The one thing it does, it updates the year from 24 to 25, and it codifies our rules and regs that were set forth by our DNR board last year. We changed our definition on our courtesy hunting license, on our disabled courtesy hunting license. Previous language only allowed non-residents to qualify for courtesy fishing license if they were paralyzed or a disabled veteran. This new language allows all paralyzed and all disabled residents and non-residents, and expands opportunities from not only fishing but also hunting. We had to go back and redefine our youth category. We had different species that had different age brackets. So our youth category is now under 16. And the last thing we did in this bill is we're trying to help our shellfish industry down on the coast. We modified our license structure there. Instead of individual licenses, now our master harvesters can go in and buy a license for up to 10 for $200 and an unlimited license for $400. So, Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Chairman, I was standing with a 5-time national champion right there.
Much more important than me, Mr. Speaker.
I guarantee you, this is a pretty important bill as well. You have no questions?
Thank you. I ask for y'all's green vote.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Hefner rise?
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry, sir.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that I am supporting this bill because it not only offers to extend benefits, but it maintains the integrity of the benefits that we currently afford to Georgia veterans in this state, sir?
I think the ladies read the bill, and I like her positive attitude, working on good legislation. Thank you. You're exactly correct.
Thank you, sir.
Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 287, the yeas are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 182?
House Bill 182 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 25 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to life insurance, so as to prohibit a policy of group life insurance from excluding or restricting liability for certain deaths occurring while an individual is on active duty. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Lumsden is recognized to present the bill.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I bring to you House Bill 182. This is a Department of Insurance bill that deals with group life insurance as it pertains to members of our armed forces. Every life insurance policy contains exclusions. An exclusion is a defined cause of death that is not covered by the terms of the policy and is clearly stated in the language of the policy. In most policies, the term act of war is most often used to define this exclusion. However, in a group life policy, the term active duty is used. Now, a person can be on active duty and not be in a war zone. In fact, only about 5% of our military actually see combat. So the purpose and language of this bill is to make it clear that simply being on active duty in and of itself is not a valid reason to deny a claim. Mr. Speaker, fellow House members, that's the bill, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration.
Gentleman does have a question if he'd yield.
I yield.
Chairman Bonner to your right has a question. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Thank you for bringing the bill. Is it not true that ensuring consistent life insurance coverage for service members can provide peace of mind for both them and their family members during times of service?
The gentleman knows what he speaks.
Thank you for the bill.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you. I yield the will.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing this bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Chaz Cannon rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that Georgia has a long-standing commitment to supporting our service members and their families? And HB 182 upholds that tradition.
The gentleman knows of what he speaks. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 182, the yeas are 171, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 124?
House Bill 124 by Representative Scoggins, the 14th, and others to be entitled, an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33, and Article 1 of Chapter 18 and Title 45 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to insurance and state employees' health plan and post-employment health benefit fund. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman Scoggins is recognized to present the bill. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you looked at the handout we put on all the desks today about PANS and PANDAS. This is House Bill 124, and the only thing this bill does is require health coverage for children with PANS and PANDAS. To explain a little bit about the bill, I didn't know if
gentlemen suspend.
This is my granddaughter.
She's a beautiful young lady.
My granddaughter started getting sick about 2 years ago, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And every 2 weeks, she would get sick with either a stomach bug, COVID, anything like that. She would get sick, and we couldn't figure it out. She would come home with a fever with no reason, and then she would have periods where she would just throw up constantly, and we couldn't figure out what was causing it. But we finally got her diagnosed, with PANS disease. It's tough. It really is. It's tough to see your grandkids suffer. And so as we dug into this issue, we found out that insurance didn't cover this. And so that's the reason for this bill today. And what PANS does, and PANDAS is brought on by strep throat. I don't know if y'all know that, but most kids get strep throat 2 or 3 times a year. And this is what brings on PANDAS. PANS can be brought on by other different sicknesses like COVID, the flu, and other bacterial or virus infections. And so as we progress through this diagnosis with SELA, we understood that an immune system gets weakened, and that is why the antibodies in our system start fighting this bacteria of strep throat. And sometimes these antibodies start fighting against good antibodies, not just the virus from strep throat or the flu. They start fighting against each other, and they start hitting on healthy cells. And most of these cells come from the brain, which involve movement, thought, feelings. And my granddaughter developed a tic. And I don't know if you know what a tic is, but a tic is a involuntary twitching of your body or movement caused from PANS or PANDAS. And she picked up this tic, and that's when we really started figuring out what was wrong with her. And it's a serious disease that insurance had not been recognizing, but the American Academy of Pediatrics has now recognized PANS and PANDAS as a sickness. And what I'm hoping for is to be able to get this bill moving out of the House, get it over to the Senate, and get it on the desk for the governor, so these kids, and not just the kids, but the families that are having to pay out of pocket for this sickness, and it's very expensive. And the other thing I want to mention is 12 other states have this same or the same or similar laws, and 17 other states, as we speak, have local legislation that are in the process of going through their states now. So that'll be 29 states that are recognizing PANS and PANDAS. And I would appreciate your vote and your consideration. Thank you very much.
Gentleman, yield for a question.
Yes, sir.
Right up the center, Chairman Hawkins is recognized for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that this disease has come under such scrutiny that the CHOA right now has clinical trials to try to help these children?
The gentleman knows of what he speaks.
Chairman Lumsden is recognized for a question to your right up the center on the right.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that by passing House Bill 124, we are ensuring that families dealing with these medical conditions receive the support and coverage they need without unnecessary hurdles?
Yes, sir, that is true, and thank you for your help with the bill.
Gentleman from the coast, Representative Williams, to your left, has a question. Gentleman is recognized.
Will gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
My question is, how is your granddaughter now?
She's better.
Good.
Thank God.
All right.
Thank you for that question, Representative. Gentleman has no further questions. We do have some speakers on the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield well.
Chairman has yielded well. We have several folks who'd like to speak. I'm going to ask you to probably take up to 10 minutes for your comments and your comments on the bill. So I'm going to recognize Representative Al right now. Representative Dr. Al is recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak in support of HB 124. This is a good bill. In medicine, there are certain conditions that we refer to as orphan diseases, meaning they affect a small number of patients and therefore often go neglected. Due to their small patient populations, there are limited financial incentives for research and development for diseases like this. Orphan diseases also face difficulty in diagnosis and treatment. They encounter lack of access to specialized care, and patients and families often feel isolated. Today in the Georgia House, we have a chance to stand with them and to show these families that they are not alone. I appreciate Chairman Scoggins for bringing this bill and appreciate his personal connection with the community. I'll be proud to vote yes on this bill, and I hope you all join me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
The lady has yielded the well. The chair recognizes Representative Bennett to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to thank Chairman Mitchell Scoggins for bringing this bill to the floor. We have a wise man in this chamber who says a story seldom told is soon forgotten. I am honored and humbled to stand in support of this bill. I'd like to also recognize that in 2019, this bill first came to the House, and I was happy to sponsor that, and since then it's been a hard-fought fight. And so today I am happy to be a part of a House of Representatives that will support and pass this PANS and PANDAS bill to provide support to over 14,000 Georgia citizens and their families. It is a hard disease. Once it's diagnosed, if diagnosed early, a lot of the signs can be eliminated. So I want to ask this House to stand in support with me of this bill. It will be a great bill and a great support. As Representative Al said, 14,000 families may not seem much, but to those families who it is impacted, it is a lot, and it requires a lifetime of support. Madam Speaker, I ask that this House will vote in favor of House Bill 124, and we will continue to be able to support the children and the families who need support in the state of Georgia. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield the well.
Lady has yielded the well. The chair recognizes Representative Clark to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to come in support of House Bill 124. I didn't realize what PANDAS was until last year. One of my best friends, his daughter came down with it, and it has just wrecked our family. I mean, she was a beautiful young girl, and they didn't know what was going on. They went to all these doctors and trying to figure it out, and then eventually found out it was PANDAS. And so I realized Representative Scoggins had dropped this bill last year, and called him. I was like, what can I do to help? So I was excited he had was on it last year, and it kind of hits you like sometimes you don't realize some legislation coming through here until it affects you personally, and then watching, my best friend, his daughter go through this. So please, everyone, support this. Families need it for their kids, and it's detrimental, specifically if it's not caught early. It can have so many side effects down the road. So please support House Bill 124. Thank you. And I yield the well, Madam Chair.
Gentleman has yielded the well. The chair recognizes Chairman Lumsden to speak to the bill.
Madam Speaker, members of the House, I rise today in support of House Bill 124, a measure that ensures children diagnosed with a pediatric autoimmune neuropsychotic disorder receive the medical care they need. PANDAS and PANS are conditions that can appear suddenly, bringing with them neuropsychiatric symptoms such as anxiety, obsessive compulsive behavior, and tics that can significantly impact a child's daily life. Imagine a child who just days ago was thriving, excelling in school, playing with friends, only to wake up one morning experiencing symptoms that turn their life upside down. For these children and their families, every day can be a challenge, and every moment can be filled with uncertainty. House Bill 124 makes an essential step in ensuring these families are not left to navigate this situation alone. It mandates insurance coverage for the diagnosis and treatment of PANDAS and PANS, ensuring that affected children have access to medical interventions based on nationally recognized clinical guidelines. This bill ensures that financial constraints do not stand between a child and their necessary treatments. Let us be clear. No family should have to fight their insurance provider while they are already working to support their child's health. This legislation upholds our commitment to ensuring that Georgia's children receive the care they need when they need it without unnecessary financial hardships. Colleagues, we have an opportunity today to make a meaningful difference in the lives of Georgia's families. By passing House Bill 124, we provide support to those dealing with these conditions and reaffirm our commitment to a health care system that prioritizes the well-being of all our citizens. I urge your support for this critical measure. Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well. For what purpose does Representative Tarvin, he waives. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine.
Have all members voted? Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 124, the yeas are 173, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, I'd like for you to recognize a former member of this House who represented Coweta County in that area where Chairman Lynn Smith represents now. But one of the most noteworthy things that he just told me is he and Dean Gerald Green came in as freshmen. He looks a lot better than you, Gerald. I can just tell you that now. So, and there's... So we want, if you all welcome back to this House, former State Representative Neil Shepard. Thank you for being back here.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 352?
House Bill 352 by Representative Seaball, the 34th and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 49-4-159.4 of the official code of Georgia and its editor relating to coverage for continuous glucose monitors so as revised coverage criteria to include Medicaid recipients with gestational diabetes. This bill I referred to the Committee on Public and Community Health. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Seabaugh is recognized to present the bill. Members, please give your attention to the gentleman in the well. Representative Seabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, today I rise to present House Bill 352, a simple but significant amendment to a bill we unanimously passed last year thanks to the work of my good friend, Representative Danny Mathis, and it was signed into law by Governor Kemp. But as you all know, words matter when you're writing policy. And the amendment in House Bill 352 ensures that Medicaid will cover continuous glucose monitors for pregnant women diagnosed with gestational diabetes if their physician prescribes it. Gestational diabetes is not just a temporary condition, it presents serious health risk for both mother and baby. Managing blood sugar levels with precision is critical to preventing complications such as preterm birth, high birth weights, and the future development of type 2 diabetes. A continuous glucose monitor provides real-time data that helps expecting mothers maintain stable glucose levels, reducing the risk of emergency interventions and costly complications. So the language of this amendment is clear and consistent with the original law. It simply ensures that Medicaid covers this essential tool, the CGM, when prescribed by a doctor, removing a potential unintended gap in coverage. It upholds the intent of our original actions and our commitment to protecting maternal and infant health in Georgia. I urge your favorable consideration, and Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You have a couple of questions. Representative Richardson, I believe he's to your right down the center, has a question. Gentleman's recognized for a question.
Will the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that HB 352 will address Georgia's mortality crisis by providing expected mothers with gestational diabetes the necessary tools to monitor and manage their conditions, reducing the risk of life-threatening complications?
Thank you, Representative. The gentleman knows of what he speaks.
Gentleman yield for another question. Representative Reese, to your left in the back, has a question.
Thank
Representative
you, Mr.
Reese
Speaker.
is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that glucose monitoring systems have proven to be very helpful in the area of healthcare of monitoring diabetes? And by adding this additional group here, we're making sure that more Georgians, particularly pregnant women, are covered as it relates to the monitoring of glucose.
It certainly does. I personally wear a CGM monitor, monitoring my diabetes, and I can tell you it's significantly changed my life, and I know it's going to help these mothers that get gestational diabetes from becoming pregnant. It's also going to save their children potentially from becoming diabetics down the road. So I think in the long term, it's going to save the state money.
Representative Mathis is recognized to your right, up the center aisle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that the bill reflects our commitment to enhancing maternal health care and support of healthy pregnancies throughout our state?
Certainly does. And Representative Mathis, I appreciate you bringing this important legislation last year to get it started. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Beckles is recognized to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that constituents with pre-diabetic conditions could also benefit from this bill if offered?
I believe any diabetic could benefit from a CGM monitor.
Would you do for another question, sir?
I do.
Would you not agree that prevention is better than cure, and that given our pre-diabetic constituents would also decrease medical costs and increase life expectancy?
I believe the gentlelady knows of what she speaks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I will yield the well.
The gentleman's yielding the well. He had a couple more questions, but that's certainly his part. Representative Seabaugh has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members, I'll wait on you. Take your time. Have all members now voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 352, the yeas are 169, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 78, House Bill, I beg your pardon. Sometimes I get carried away working with those folks over there, or attempting to. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 78?
House Bill 78 by Representative Franklin of the 160th and others, to be entitled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 20 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated the Public Retirement Systems Investment Authority Law, so as to raise the limit for the total percentage of funds that the Employees Retirement System of Georgia may invest. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Retirement. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from Bullock County, Vice Chair of the Retirement Committee, Representative Franklin, is recognized to present the bill. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I am afraid I may be in danger of wasting your time on this bill because, you see, this is the third time that I've stood in this well to champion the retirement systems in Georgia. This bill has gone through this House twice. It's gone to the Senate and went to the Senate floor twice, and it died there, basically because it just ran out of time. But it's a shame because this is a super important bill for Georgia. It's a super important bill for our retirement systems, and I want to see it go through again. There's only 3 ways to get money into our retirement systems, and that's through the retirement employees, the state putting money in it, and the return on investments. And the easiest and most less painful way is return on investments, and this bill just does that. So what it does is it increases the employment retirement system alternative investments from 5 to 10%, and it increases the firefighters' pension fund alternative investments from 15 to 20%. And what it basically is allowing them to do is have the freedom to diversify their portfolio, to increase their portfolio, to be able to bring more money into their systems. It's a bill that was requested by these retirement systems, and please ask your favorable consideration to get this through to the finish goal. I'll answer any questions you need be.
You have a couple. Representative Jenkins to your right is recognized for a question.
Do you yield?
I do.
Is it not true that increasing the cap on the retirement system, employees' retirement system of Georgia, will provide greater flexibility to pursue higher yield investments while maintaining prudent risk management?
It absolutely will. Thank you.
Thank you.
To your left, Representative Jasmine Clark has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Yes, so how susceptible are these alternative investments to things like recession?
To the recession? Well,
if there were to be a recession.
Well, that's one reason why they wanted to increase them, because what this does is diversifies their portfolio to be able to hedge for those issues like that. The alternative investments were yielding a lot more than traditional investments in the past, and this allows them to make that gain.
Does the gentleman further yield?
I do.
For these alternative investments, is it mostly in real estate and that type of investment, or do you have any idea like exactly what these funds are investing in?
Yeah, it's mainly in private equities is where it is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman has a question to your right from Representative Mac Jackson. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
How soon can we expect to see returns on these investments?
That question, I do not know. I have no idea when we would see them. It's basically, they don't have to invest this much into it. They can invest 1%, 2%, but I don't know when the return is. But if we were to pass this bill in the very beginning, we would already receive these returns, which is a shame.
Does that mean I would be getting a raise this year?
Let's see. I hope so.
The gentleman has several other questions if he yields. You have a question from the chairman from which this bill came, Chairman Carson. The gentleman's recognized up the center aisle.
Thank you, Representative Friendlyhead. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Representative Franklin, thank you again for bringing this bill on behalf of ERS and our state retirees. Is it not true that about half of the pension investments are in equities, another half are in fixed income, and that allowing more investments into alternative investments, which are in private equity, just as you said, is that not allowing higher returns of 2 or 3 times what we're able to see in other investments and get us closer to issuing state COLAs to our hardworking our state retirees? Is that not true?
The gentleman knows what he speaks. Absolutely true.
Is it further? Do you further yield?
I do.
I just want to thank you again for bringing this investment, which is requested by the agencies to provide more sound investing to our pension portfolios. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentleman has additional questions.
I'll take one more, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Saines to your left has a question. Gentleman's recognized.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that good things are worth repeating even though some are hard of hearing?
Yes, sir, it is. Absolutely.
Further yield?
I do.
Is it not true that that good thing that we're talking about right now is ensuring that our hardworking firefighters and our public servants ranked among the most efficient throughout this nation have a better quality of life is worth doing?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Gentlemen, I appreciate your efforts. This House has very much supported ERS over the years, and I think we'll do the same thing again this year. So we appreciate your efforts, and what this bill gives our opportunity to make sure our great ERS retirees hopefully get a COLA real soon. Thank you for your work. And I tried to put Senate bill on it so to encourage them to pass it over there to begin with. So good luck. Thanks for your bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purposes Representative Richardson rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true HB 78 does not mandate additional investments but simply expands the range of options available to pension fund managers?
I know the gentleman knows of what he speaks. For what purposes Representative Lisa Campbell rise?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that in addition to possibly achieving higher results, that investing in private equity is considered to be high risk due to factors like lack of liquidity, limited transparency in private companies, high leverage used by funds, and the potential for significant losses if the underlying companies underperform?
I'm sure the lady believes that on investments, but we have a great team that makes investments for Georgia, and they have a good track record. For what purpose does Chairman Yurda rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that ensuring the financial stability of our public retirement system is essential for the well-being of Georgia's public servants?
I'm sure the gentleman believes in what he states. Have all members now voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 78. The yeas are 161, the nays are 9. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 232, 232?
232. House Bill 232 by Representative Silcox of the 53rd and others, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 24A, Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to massage therapy practice so as to enter into an interstate compact known as the Interstate Massage Compact. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Regulated Industries. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Silcox is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you today with House Bill 232. House Bill 232 would make Georgia another state in an interstate compact for licensed massage therapists. This bill, if passed, would increase public access to massage therapy services by providing for a multi-state licensing pathway, enhance our state's ability to prevent human trafficking and licensing fraud, support relocating military families and their spouses, and increase our ability to protect the public's health and safety. Notably, this bill does increase the number of hours required for licensing to 625 hours, which puts us in step with our neighboring states. And so with that, if there are no questions, I would yield the well.
The lady has a question. Lady yield.
Yes.
Representative Jones to your left. Lisa Jones has a question. Ladies recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. Do you yield?
Yes.
How are we verifying the reciprocity agreements, and will they currently be maintained in each state? I.e., are we making sure that credentials are in tandem with our state requirements, for an example, continuing education? And if you have a subcommittee that will be overseeing these matters, I would like to be considered as a part of that team.
Yes, this does, of course, provide for an interstate compact, which they would have a board for all of the licensees of the member states. And so all of the requirements for that would be the same for all those member states. And it would raise our requirements in Georgia to be 625 hours of training to receive a license to put us in step with our neighbor states.
Lady yield for another question.
Sure.
Chairman Powell to your right has a question. Chairman Powell is recognized.
Will the good lady yield?
I do.
Is it not true that to create this interstate compact, 7 states have to do what we're doing right now?
Yes, sir.
Is it not further true that not only will this open up the door for reciprocity with military spouses and the such, but would give greater professionalism to that profession?
Yes, sir. I thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Lady has no further questions.
Then I yield the well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ladies yield the will. We do have a member signed up to speak in favor. Representative Sandra Scott is recognized. Representative Scott, I'll give you up to 10 minutes. Ladies recognized. Or you can take less now, for sure.
I will. Good morning, colleagues. Today, I stand before you with immense pride and gratitude as I support House Bill 232, the Interstate Massage Compact Act. For years, I have dedicated my time and energy to developing this bill, driven by the conviction that uniting our state standards will pave the way for safer, more professional massage practices across our border. This legislation is not merely a policy, it is a reflection of our shared commitment to excellence in healthcare and professional practice. I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to all my colleagues for your unwavering support and collaborative spirit throughout this journey. Your dedication has been essential in bringing this vision to life, ensuring that we provide better protection for both practitioners, and the communities they serve. Together, we are taking a significant step forward in harmonizing our practices and setting a benchmark for excellence nationwide. Thank you for standing with me, and I urge you to join the passing of this important bill for the betterment of our constituents and our professional community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Ladies, yield the well. Thank you, Representative Scott. I know you've worked on this, and I appreciate that. Certainly do. That completes our comments in support of House Bill 232. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 232, the yeas are 165, the nays are 5. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill? Oh, this is on your supplemental calendar. Members, this is on your supplemental calendar. House Bill 153. Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 153 by Representative Camp of the 135th to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 48.8 3.2 of the Official Code of Georgia and Ontario relating to sales and use tax exemptions for manufacturing equipment, industrial materials, packing supply, and energy. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Beth Camp is recognized to present the bill. Chairlady Camp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill, House Bill 153, is here today because in our manufacturing equipment tax exemption, the Department of Revenue decided that they interpreted maybe that the ready-mix concrete transport, I'm sorry, I'm all tumbled up today. The ready-mix concrete transport equipment was not included in that exemption. So a few years ago, it was put into code. This bill codifies an extension of that till June 30th, 2031. And I'm open for any questions.
You have a couple of questions. Representative Kelly to your left is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentlelady yield?
I will.
Chairlady Camp, is it not true that the maintenance and replacement parts that are covered in this credit, giving them that credit is essential to us in the concrete industry in Georgia?
Thank you very much, Representative Kelly. And yes, you are correct on that. It's essential because, as you well know, if concrete's not continuously moving, then it is a hardened product and it's no longer available to pour to build all the great things in our state. So thank you for that question.
Chairman Blackman up the center aisle has a question. The lady will yield.
Does the lady yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that this is consistent with our tax structure in Georgia, whereby we don't tax business inputs?
Yes, thank you very much for that, Chairman Blackman. We do not tax inputs because Georgia is the #1 state to do business, and we certainly want to give everyone an opportunity to grow their business in our state. So thank you for that question.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well and ask for favorable consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. The ladies yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? You still got it, Representative Williams. I see that little jog there. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Noel Williams rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that extending this tax exemption will provide critical support for the construction industry as they work to rebuild South Georgia after Helene?
That's very insightful. Somebody must have given you that note. Good question. I certainly know the gentleman certainly agrees. I agree with him and certainly knows what he speaks. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 153, the yeas are 168, the nays are 3. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 136?
House Bill 136 by Representative Newton of the 127th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to income taxes so as to expand the tax credit for contributions to foster child support organizations and to allow such organizations to include qualified expenditures. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chairman Newton is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. House Bill 136 is a bill that takes care of some of the most challenged Georgians. Those are our foster children who, through no fault of their own, they've ended up in foster care. We have over 10,000 individuals in Georgia in that program, and it's a wonderful program and some caring people taking care of that, some great people in DFACS. House Bill 136 is an update and a strengthening of that important program because it takes out a group that have often been left behind. Those are the ones if they age out of the foster care program. Once they turn 18, they may not have even finished high school yet because they've been in several different homes and several different districts, but they're left out of our program. The Fostering Success Act of 2022 was an important first step on this, was to get money that could be done as a tax credit by individuals or businesses to help organizations that reach out and help these children, these former foster children. So this is building on House Bill 424 of a couple of years ago. House Bill 136 allows a tax credit to individuals and business, and it can be used for tuition, books, things like that for either college or vocational school or even an apprenticeship. It also helps them with something we all help our children with, that just because they turn 18, the parental support doesn't stop. That can be things like food, housing, other basic needs like transportation, health care, dental care, things like that. An important part of this bill in House Bill 136 is that it also encourages mentorship. That's something that really kind of money can't buy. It does allow $100 a month in expenses for some of these mentors, but those are the individuals who give that advice on Pell Grants and things they might be eligible for, Medicaid, other things. So this is an important program. It can establish that both individuals and businesses, including insurance companies, can donate a portion of their tax obligation to these organizations that reach out to these kids. There are some important safeguards in the bill. It's very tight on the amount it can be used for overhead, no more than 10%. Well, that means over 90% of the money being donated through this tax credit has to go for the direct benefit of the former foster child. If you can meet some of these youth that have had this program in its first year make a difference, you'll see why we're trying to expand it from $20 million a year to $30 million, a maximum of $30 million a year. It's a program. These are kids that often end up 97% in poverty, 37% end up homeless. But if we can help them with the mentorship and these charitable organizations that can reach out to them, and we can help fund them with some tax credit money, I think this can make a difference that we can all be proud of. I hope you'll vote yes on House Bill 136. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad to answer any questions.
The gentleman has a couple of questions. Representative Silcox is recognized right at the center aisle.
Does the gentleman yield?
Certainly.
Is it not true that this legislation represents a strategic investment in preventive services that can lead to long-term benefits for our whole state?
Absolutely. The lady definitely knows what she speaks. Many of these children will end up, if not for mentorship and this help, they can end up in the prison system, unexpected or early pregnancies, certainly before they desired. There's a lot of challenges, poverty and homelessness that I've already mentioned, that the state would have an obligation to help with. So I think that we can get a good return on the investment when businesses and individuals make this charitable contribution. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this bill, Chairman Newton.
Thank you.
Representative Kelly, to your left, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chairman yield?
Certainly.
Chairman Newton, isn't it true that what we're doing in this legislation is allowing for these organizations who are currently operating and helping serve our foster kids to include qualified expenditures for their wraparound and mentorship services for these that are what I consider some of the most vulnerable members of our society?
That's absolutely right. That wraparound and the mentorship program is a key part of this bill and a key part of it. I thank you for the question.
I appreciate your efforts on this and those organizations that are performing these for Georgians. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Speaker, we're all here for a season when we can help. There's other work this body has done in 2018 on adoption and trying to take care of some children that are in challenged situations. This foster care program is a great program, and we have some wonderful individuals. I hope you'll vote with me on continuing the program for fostering success. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Good bill. Thank you for bringing it. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Cox rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that we have seen this type of program locally where we are up in the Forsyth area in North Fulton that has really helped move these foster kids forward to give them an opportunity, and that by passing this legislation will give these very individuals hope?
I know the gentleman knows what he speaks. I hear that's a great program y'all have up in Forsyth, so it's appreciate that. And for what purpose does Representative Derek Jackson rise? He waves. All members voted. All members voted. Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 136, the yeas are 170, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 164, 164?
House Bill 164 by Representative Meeks, the 178th and others, be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 6, and Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to dimensions and weights of vehicles and loads, so as to repeal automatic repeal provisions relating to an allowable variance. This bill having referred to the Committee on Transportation, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Meeks is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you today House Bill 164. Many of you that were here 2 years ago remember the debate we had on raising truck weights. The only thing that this bill does is it removes the sunset provision and makes it permanent law. Appreciate the opportunity to work on the piece of legislation, which will continue to help foresters as we continue clean up from Hurricane Helene. It's an efficiency bill for the forestry industry. So, Mr. Speaker, with that, I'll yield the will or ask for favorable consideration unless there are any questions.
Gentleman will yield to your right. Chairman Jasper has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Meeks. I appreciate your diligence in working on this issue that affects rural Georgia, especially our largest employer in the state, agriculture. But it's not true that you feel that this bill will support rural Georgia, especially at the aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
Yes, sir. That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, I certainly appreciate your diligence in helping with this bill and the efforts of DOT and others who have worked to talk with us and work with us through this issue.
Gentlemen,
questions, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the well and ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentlemen, has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Chaz Cannon rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that House Bill 164 will help rural Georgians recover from Hurricane Helene?
I think that's the case. Appreciate the representative's interest. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 164, the yeas are 164. The nays are 9. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 34?
House Bill 34 by Representative Washburn of the 144th to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding professions and businesses so as to establish on behalf of professional licensing boards under the jurisdiction of the Office of Secretary of State a continuing education tracking solution. This bill I referred to the Committee on Regulated Industries. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from down in Bibb County. Representative Washburn is recognized to present the bill.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I rise to present House Bill 34, which seeks to establish a system for monitoring of licensing renewal with online applications. This bill is a good bill. It'll enhance efficiency with the Secretary of State's office in terms of licensing renewal. It'll result in improved compliance because it should be easier to track what is needed in continuing education and to be able to track the compliance with those requirements. It should save money because of reduced paperwork, etc., and it should protect the public more because of the enhanced licensing renewal process. I ask for your favorable consideration of this bill. It should be noted that this bill passed the House last session and got over to the Senate and did not get called over there. So it is a good bill. I urge you to vote favorably on it, and I will yield for any questions, Mr. Speaker.
To your left, Representative Jasmine Clark is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does my friend yield?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So I noticed on line 29 that this bill it looks like it gives the Secretary of State's office up to January of next year to have this system in place and ready to begin approving or not approving licenses. Does that mean that they have already started the process of bidding and finding parties that can, or third-party agencies that can actually do this? Because it seems like a short timeline.
I truthfully don't know that they have started that process. I would assume they have not started it until this bill passes, but thank you for the question.
Do you further yield?
I do.
Is there any worry that this timeline might be a bit tight? I think it's a good bill, and I think it is very reasonable what we're trying to do. But is there a concern that we're going to be scrambling back here next session, having to push this deadline back a little bit because the Secretary of State's office was not able to meet this deadline, and now technically, according to the law, we are not able to renew licenses from professional licensing boards?
Well, thank you for the question. I have been in contact with the Secretary of State's office, and I assume that they're fully aware of the timeline and that they're confident they can get it implemented. But thank you for the question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, with that,
Gentleman has another question to your right. Chairman Powell is recognized for a question.
Will the chairman yield? Will the speaker yield?
We'll yield to the chairman.
If I would like to, I'm sorry. Ask you a question. Is it not true that this state, all of the professional and business licensing to the biggest degree, unless they're freestanding, reside over at the Secretary of State's office?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch it.
Is it not true that most of the businesses in this state, their licenses, unless they're freestanding boards, reside at the Secretary of State's office?
That is true.
Is it not true that this is a problem that has persisted for years for various and sundry reasons, but it needs to be upgraded?
That is also true, Mr. Chairman.
Further question, is it not also true that they made an attempt with a company a few years ago to upgrade their licensing system, and because of that they've been deeper in the quagmire?
That is also true, Mr. Chairman.
Is it not further true that by sending this message by law, that when they start upgrading that system and doing the fixes, that it will actually bring them in line to what some of the freestanding boards do to make it consumer friendly to the licensees, so they can see how many C&Es they have, how many are left, and what it takes to renew their business licenses, professional licenses?
That is exactly true, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for those questions. This will enhance our licensing renewal process, which will serve the state of Georgia well.
Thank you for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well and I ask for your favorable consideration on this bill.
Gentleman's yielded the well. I like it when you guys are working together. That sounded good. It's a good bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Hearing none, the committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? We're going to get that clerk some finger exercises there to speed up his pace. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, will the clerk lock the machine on the passage of Senate House Bill? Almost did it again. House Bill 34, the yeas are at 171, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. I'm going to allow the chairman of Transportation to explain something on this resolution. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Resolution 7?
Senate Resolution number 7, dedicating certain portions of the highway system. This resolution to the Committee on Transportation, the committee recommended this bill to pass by substitute.
Members may not be specifically mentioned, is that right, Mr. Chairman? But I want to ask you, as we honor some folks in our state and our history with road namings, I want to ask this House, this body, will you please stand while the chairman presents this road naming resolution? Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Speaker. You know, if you look in the back of your book, there's a very long bill, Senate Resolution 7. It's 33 pages long. And these are important. These were done last year. They honored Georgians in your community that have led your community, have passed away in your community, that we honored. And this bill just got crossed up at the very end. We just didn't get it done. But if you take a moment, if you want to look and see some heartfelt, incredible stories take a minute and look at the last of your book. It's always amazing to see that. GDOT was very beneficial this past year. This bill didn't get through. We had people had promised and made desires to get these signs up. GDOT went ahead and made the signs without the resolution. The governor's office supported us in that because we want to recognize these folks. And there were a couple of them, people talked to me as we went through toward the end of this year that the people, they put the signs up and then that recipient passed away. And what a meaningful thing that was that you saw. You saw Vice Chairman Lauren McDonald's was one of those. So it's real good for that. Hope you'll join me now in voting green on getting this through and getting these codified. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. You may be seated. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Hearing none, the previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Hearing none, the committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? Hearing none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted. All members now voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the adoption of Senate Resolution 7, the yeas are 174, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Members, that completes our rules calendar. House Resolution 32 will be postponed to the next legislative day. We have a couple of motions. We have just one motion. For what purpose does Representative Dempsey rise?
Speaker, I rise to make a motion.
State your motion.
The motion to temporarily suspend the rules and allow a bill to be introduced, read the first time, and referred to committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
Unnumbered House Bill by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Mathiak of the 82nd, Jones of the 25th, Oliver of the 84th, Cooper of the 45th. The bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 37, the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to general provisions regarding the administration of mental health, developmental disabilities, addictive diseases, and other disability services.
On the lady's motion that the rules of the House be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Health. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions? Mr. Clerk.
A resolution recognizing February 27th, 2025 as Georgia Airports Association Day, recognizing and commending William Wright on his outstanding public service, recognizing and commending Mike Coleman, recognizing Fire Chief Eddie Robinson, the 2024 Georgia Fire Chief of the Year, recognizing and commending the University of Georgia Block and Bridle Club on the occasion of its 50th Great Southland Stampede Rodeo, recognizing and commending Minister Dara Cowlery on his outstanding public service, recognizing and commending the 2025 Georgia Single Parent Transparent Legacy Builders. Recognizing and commending small business advocacy organizations and recognizing March 5th, 2025 as Small Business Advocacy Day. Recommending and congratulating Ms. Dunhu of Benjamin Banneker High School on being named Teacher of the Year. Recognizing and commending Reverend Dr. Michael Wayne Sherman Sr. on the occasion of his 10th pastoral anniversary. Congratulating and commending the Lamar County School System. Congratulating and commending the Charlton County Board of Education. Recognizing and commending Beauty P. Baldwin. Congratulating and commending Dooley County Schools. Congratulating and commending the Black Child Development Institute. Commending and congratulating Rice Augusta, recipient of Georgia Reed's Community Award. Congratulating and commending the Ben Hill County School District. Congratulating and commending Marietta City Schools. Congratulating and commending Cobb Collaborative. Congratulating and commending Believe Greater Dalton. Recognizing and commending James and Patricia Gant upon their retirement. Congratulating and commending Reed Source and Purpose-Built Schools of Atlanta. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? Hearing none, the resolutions are adopted. We'll move on to afternoon orders. We have several afternoon orders. I'm going to allow you 1 minute, and then the light's going to come on. I'm not going to cut you off, but I'll ask you to be finding the end of your afternoon order, if you will. The Representative Adesanya is recognized. He was most patient on Friday and agreed to hold over. So give, sir, Representatives, let me get their attention first. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. Colleagues, as you all know, Hurricane Helene devastatingly hit Georgia September last year. It destroyed homes and livelihoods across South Georgia, the Augusta area in the east, and the middle Georgia. Imagine waking up to your home underwater or your business destroyed. For thousands, this was not just a storm. It was life-altering. And months later, many have now recovered their homes, and some still rely on donations to get by in their daily lives. And as many of you may recall, President Biden at the time stepped up and sent relief and resources to Georgia because Democrats understand that empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. Something this president failed at. This sitting president, their president, stopped the resources coming to Georgia through FEMA. Well, the light is on. Mr. Speaker, at your will, I yield the will.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate your comments. Representative Holly is recognized, here he is, for an afternoon order. You got some friends coming with you?
Yes, sir.
Y'all join him, please. Oh, just one. I thought you had two. Gotcha. Gentleman's recognized. Wait, members, if you'll rise, please. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Wanted to recognize the life that was lost in our local community in the manner of a young man. Zaire McQueen was a student at Eagles Landing High School, a 16-year-old who was very passionate about wrestling, and it really had made his family proud. Unfortunately, Zaire had succumbed to an asthma attack a little bit after Valentine's Day, and his family really helped motivate the school to give and to donate in time and money so that they could be able to honor him significantly. And we just want to make sure that as he is able to have so many in our community who are themselves faith believers, and they've been praying and giving this entire time. And although Zaire would not be able to walk away from his hospital bed, he is on a ventilator to ensure that he may gift his organs to those who would need it. So in honor of this young man, I'm asked that the state of Georgia and our members here will recognize Zaire McQueen's life with a moment of silence. Thank you. I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative. We're sorry for the family's loss, but what a wonderful contribution, a noble contribution to his fellow man. Thank you, members. Representative Griffin, Representative Floyd Griffin from Baldwin County is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we began the last week of Black History Week, I rise to celebrate the powerful legacy of black women. Women whose strength, resiliency, and vision has driven progress across generations and industries, from science and education to civil rights and technology. Black women have often been the backbone of innovation, transforming societies without receiving the recognition they deserve. Instead, wait a minute here. Well, I'm missing a page here. I don't know if I can go from the hard here, but among those pioneers is Kathleen Coleman Johnson, a mathematician whose brilliance propelled the United States into the space age. Breaking through racism and sexism, Johnson became a key figure at NASA. During John Glenn's historical 1962 orbital flight, he stated that I will go if Ms. Johnson give me the right to go. And that happened. Innovation flourished through diversity, perspective, and progress, accelerating when we invest in equality by supporting affirmative actions and DEI. We honor trailblazers like Kathleen Johnson and open doors for future generations. Let us commit to advancing policies that promote justice and opportunity, ensuring that these legacies continue to shape a brighter, more inclusive tomorrow. We salute Katherine Johnson for her legacy in moving the space program forward. I will yield.
Thank you. Representative Martinez, you're recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise here today to celebrate Black History Month, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, when I was a young man and I came to this country as a young Hispanic kid, we were very limited on the channels that we had on our TV. But I do remember looking forward to Saturday, Channel 34, Soul Train, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, Soul Train. Boy, I tell you what, Soul Train started in 1971, 35 years, and it went all the way to 2006. They had a lot of artists in Soul Train, I remember that. Some of them were Gladys Knight and the Pips, Stevie Wonder, Al Green, Marvin Gaye, Little Richard, Barry White, The Love Unlimited, Donna Summers, Hot Stuff. And my favorite, colleagues, my all-time favorite, Lou Rawls, the late Lou Rawls. Mr. Speaker, I could never fill the shoes of the late Lou Rawls, but I can tell you one thing. I could honor him, Mr. Speaker, and colleagues. You'll never find, as long as I live, someone who loves you tender like I do. We're going to love my loving. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hear the well.
Well, Representative McLean, when it got hot, you stepped away. Well, I don't know what that was about, but hey, a star is born. There's no doubt about that. Wow. Representative Jaspers, I think this is not quite as dramatic, I hope, but this is still a good one. You're going to tell us about 4-H? Chairman Jaspers recognized for an afternoon order.
I'm glad we don't have to sing. Thank you, Speaker. Tomorrow is 4-H Day at the Capitol, and unfortunately, we'll all be here in all meetings, but they won't get to come to the Capitol and here to our chamber and speak to us, and that's unfortunate. Because hundreds of young people are going to be here tomorrow from all over the state. I hope they make contact with you so that you can meet with them. They have a great picture at the stairs over here, a giant meeting in the over in the depot. If you want to hear from their state president, you've got a little QR code here where you can hear from him. He would have normally been up here speaking. The gentleman is from Toombs County. I think you'd love it. That's right, Hagan. But also, well, there was some cheese straws on your desk. And my wife's back, Miss Jaspers, is looking at me right now going, you ate my cheese straws? They're wonderful. You need to try them from Rock Eagle. And also, lastly, Mr. Speaker, if you'll look at the 4-H Board of Directors and look at the places and the young people who are represented in this group, very diverse from all across our state. 4-H trains young people to be leaders. And I was very proud to be part of that program for nearly 30 years. But thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope to see you tomorrow.
4-H Day, good group of young people. Representative Reeves is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House members, I invite you to the Council for Municipal Court Judges breakfast in the morning. It's 9:30 to 10:30 in room 230 here in the Capitol. With it being at 9:30, that could be breakfast, second breakfast, brunch. But come see your municipal court judges. Please drive the speed limit to stay out of their court and come appreciate them. We got 537 cities in Georgia. A lot of them have good municipal court judges. Thank you. I yield the well.
Representative Schofield, you have some folks who've sat very patiently in the gallery, so I'm glad you're going to recognize them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise, members of the House, to welcome the United for Respect workers. They're warehouse workers that are here advocating for safer workplaces. Immediately following, we'll be down in the South Wing for a press conference on Warehouse Workers Protection Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yield the well.
Good to have you all at the state capitol. Thank you, Representative Schofield and members. Representative Santos is recognized for an afternoon order. Give the lady in the wheel your attention, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to honor the life of an 11-year-old girl who tragically took her own life. Her name is Jocelyn Rojo Carranza. Her dear mother, Maribela Carranza, said of her sweet daughter's passing, "I lost a little piece of me." Jocelyn was a little girl who loved to dance and told her mother she dreamed of one day becoming a cheerleader. She had complained that her 6th grade classmates threatened her to call ICE and leave her parentless. We are reminded that in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, it reads, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." When children hear their parents so loosely and callously referred to as criminals and aliens, it does hurt. It hurts when I know that even my daughter and my young son could face the same bullying. Jocelyn could have very well been my child. She could have been your friend's children, a friend to your children. Today, colleagues, I ask that we shape policies that uplift all people. To the children of immigrants, you are Georgia, you belong here. Let me say that again. Tú eres Georgia y tú perteneces aquí. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
The lady has yielded the well. That completes our afternoon orders. I want to remind you, if you have a page today, to join us when we adjourn down front for some page photos. We're moving on to announcements now. Chairman Corbett, recognized for announcement. Representative Tran, you're on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Motor Vehicles Committee will meet at 8 o'clock in the morning, room 606, CLOB. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Tran is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The CAB delegation, we have our lunch meeting today. As soon as we adjourn out of here, again, the CAB delegation, we have our lunch meeting today with the CAB Board of Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Chokas recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon. The Small Business Development Committee will be meeting tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, February 25th at 8:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m., room 506. So we've got a bill to present, and then we got the Restaurant Association. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Gamble is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., the fellowship will meet. We're going to have an abbreviated morning because we're going to break about 7:40 for members that want to go to the Citizen Impact Breakfast over at the Twin Towers. But tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., the fellowship will meet.
Representative Holly is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please remember tomorrow, Black Voters Matter Day will actually be at the Capitol. So the Black Voters Matter Fund will be here. So if you could please meet them and be able to hear their priorities, would be well appreciated. They will be at they'll be at room 216 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So thank you.
Leader F. Stration has an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will be a committee chairman's lunch in room 403 upon adjournment.
Chair Lady Cooper, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Community and Public Health will be meeting at 1 o'clock in room 606 of the LOB. 606 in the LOB. Thank you.
Chairman Gunther is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Judiciary Committee will meet this afternoon at 1:30. We have 5 bills to take up. And we will also meet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I believe. And we got 8 bills to take up then. Thank you.
Keep working. Chairman Dickey is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee will meet in the morning at 9 o'clock. We have several bills, 606 CLOB, 9 o'clock tomorrow.
Chairman Lumsden has an announcement.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, there'll be a full House Insurance Committee meeting tomorrow, 1 p.m., CLOB 406. Thank you.
Representative Wilkerson, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Cobb Legislative Delegation will meet in room 216 upon adjournment. We will hear from the Cobb school system as well as meet students from South Cobb and Pebblebrook High School. Thank you.
Representative Doreen Carter, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So if you are on campus tomorrow or here at the Capitol tomorrow, the American Heart Association is hosting their Heart Healthy Lunch tomorrow from 11:30 to 1 in Capitol 125. Thank you.
Chairman Stevens, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Economic Development and Tourism Committee, the bus will leave tomorrow for the Kia plant for a tour 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. Kia. Chairman Powell, Chairman Alan Powell, recognized for an announcement.
The members of regulated industries will meet at 2 o'clock this afternoon and at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I would recommend any of the members of Reg Industries don't be on that bus.
Chairman Jasper is recognized for an announcement.
Well, this one's a little different. Transportation will not meet tomorrow because of all of what you heard. We're going to meet on Thursday at our normal time with 3 bills. Also, members, if you have a road naming, we need those newspaper ads in. Abby Day's looking for them. If you don't make it by this next week, we'll add you to the second bill, which will be done towards sine die. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Don't take a chance. Get them in. Right, Mr. Chairman. That completes our announcements. We remind you, page photos, lots of committees meeting, important business this House is tending to. Hey, that's good. I hadn't seen that. Good pages. It's just a reminder. A lot of great pages here today. A lot of good committee meetings today and tomorrow. Everyone wanted to be on their favorite committee. So if your committee's meeting, you need to be there and be present. I think that completes our work for today. Majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion. Chairman Estration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 26th, 2025.
On the motion of the majority leader, this House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February the 26th, 2025. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. It was a little closer, but the ayes clearly have it. This House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February 26th. Thank you, members.